Arc Raiders recently addressed an issue that's been ongoing since launch, something that some players may definitely see more than others, but a situation that should always be addressed when it comes to extraction shooters and its gameplay integrity. That dealing with the anti-cheat. Today we're taking a look at this new update and the systems in place to make sure your experience is as fair as it can possibly be. Drop your thoughts as we go along, drop a like if you guys enjoy the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with all things Arc Raiders and even more FPS content I'd love to have in the community, but for now, let's get into it. So, cheating in Arc Raiders. This is a problem that is seen by some players, unseen by many others. The way the matchmaking works, it breaks players into two semi-distinct experiences, right? Like, it takes you a while to get down to the pure PvE chill experiences, while oppositely, it takes nothing but PvP for quite a bit of time to get into the highest and the sweatiest of lobbies comparatively. Not saying that subjectively you can reach what feels like sweaty lobbies relatively easy, especially if you're not focused on PvP. That jump will then feel pretty quickly if you are in engagements where more often than not, people will engage versus being chill. But for like the top PvP players, that's a lot of playing one way. But here's the thing, inherently, PvE leveled players aren't going to be experiencing cheaters nearly as much because cheats aren't there to incentivize, oh, I have wall hacks, I can see what specific crate has a specific blueprint I want. Instead, it's I know where this player is, I can lock onto that player, and so on and so forth. So like, it's all about players and griefing other players' experiences, which in this type of gameplay is done in PvP fights. So the more PvP you end up engaging in, the quicker you'll move up in that aggression ranking, right? So while it's not impossible to find a cheater in PvE lobbies, it's just far more likely that their aggression will put them into higher tier lobbies that are more aggressive inherently, where for many of us, cheating may not be a real issue, but it is something that is still present. Like personally, I'll play PvP with a squad, but most of the time when I'm playing solo, I've got an objective in mind like trials, stash replenishing for materials to make weapons and upgrades for more PvP with my friends, blueprint hunting, or like cash farming for the expedition, all depending on where I'm at in the sort of season. Like for example, after the wipe, I spent about 3 days straight of just solo PvE trying to gain back a lot of the blueprints that I had lost after the wipe. But when set back up, I went and played multiple days straight of just PvP. So like, it is something that does have that very clear, distinct divide that some players will or will not experience this issue, but you can't discount it for those that do, even if you don't necessarily experience it yourself. Now, in the past, there have been prior mitigations where the first thing we saw that was actually like advertised was that players were able to just get their loot back if they were affected by a cheating player. Anything lost to that player would be returned to your inventory. Nice, but we didn't really know the fate of that cheater at that point. Next, it was mentioned that it was a sort of 1-2 scenario. First, it was mentioned a 30-day ban, then a permaban. But then it was recently mentioned that it was moved to a 3-strike system. First offense was a 30-day ban, second was a 60-day ban, and the third was then a permaban. Personally speaking, I felt like that was kind of a regression. I can maybe understand a 2-strike system, like there's never going to be a system that works perfectly. So yeah, sure, maybe somebody was caught, wrong place, wrong time. They got reported and it was something that the system looked at them and they thought they were cheating, but maybe they weren't. But okay, you're not permabanned, you can come back to the game. However, a 3-step system either is too lenient on those that are cheating or doesn't indicate as much confidence in the system to accurately pick up on those cheats if you need multiple checkpoints to do so. It's kind of just a backwards type of thing here. Punish those that do need to be punished and in a swift manner. But either way, it didn't really matter because while in theory that $40 should be enough to call it, that people wouldn't be coming back to cheat again if they got permabanned, right? It wasn't. That's the one thing that I'll always say in most cases. It's great for games being accessible. $40 doesn't break the bank like a now $80 AAA title, but it's also not free to play where the only hurdle you'll have is to make a new account and you can keep cheating under a new name. However, with Steam, even though it's a $40 game, up until recently, a cheater could just take advantage of the family sharing options, allowing them to have multiple different attempts to be able to do that while still owning that game on one account. That was again until recently. It was mentioned in their official Discord, Raiders. In our ongoing efforts to make Arc Raiders a more fair experience for all Raiders, we have just made changes to how Steam family sharing works for suspended accounts. Up until now, suspended accounts could exploit Steam family sharing to avoid account suspensions, making their way back to Speranza to continue their illegitimate play. This change prevents that by ensuring that if an account is suspended, all accounts associated with that account through Steam family sharing is also automatically suspended as well. For more information and answers to the most common questions, see our full help article here. Stay vigilant, we'll see you topside. So right up front, this eliminates a massive workaround that a lot of people were using to cheat and where that has been stemming from. So to examine it a little further though, let's take a look at the help article. Talking explicitly about the restrictions, it says, firstly, if any account in a Steam family receives a ban while using a shared Arc Raiders license, all accounts in that family will receive a restriction. And it's also mentioned they share the same duration and type across all accounts connected to that. So if you're not the primary owner, but you are somebody that plays it via that sharing, if you get a 30-day ban, everyone, including the original account owner, will have a 30-day ban. If it's 60, it's a 60-day ban. Permaban, everybody gets a permaban. Now that said, if the license owner receives a ban, they can no longer share that game through the Steam family sharing. So like the primary account owner, if they get a ban, if that was the cheater's first main account, and then they just decide, hey, I'm gonna try and use the other subsidiary accounts under this to use it, they can't do that. And for even better measure, it says, what if the owner removes the banned member from the Steam family? The ban will still apply. Removing a family member does not remove the restriction from the owner's account. If a ban occurs while a shared license is in use, that restriction extends to the license owner as well. And in a similar fashion, what happens if the owner is banned and removes a family member from their Steam family? That said, if the license owner is banned, the shared Arc Raiders license no longer can be used. A removed family member is free to purchase their own copy of the game, but will need to wait for that existing game ban on their account to expire. So even if that account detaches, buys its own version of the game, it's still affected by that ban that it had previously. So this, I think, is absolutely the right move. While in theory, the $40 price point is a great deterrent, normally speaking, $40 every time you cheat, obviously that's not going to be something that somebody wants to pay up for. There were workarounds, there were bad actors that weren't being punished as much as they should have been, but this, in theory, should stomp that out a little bit. Obviously, this doesn't fix the issue inherently. There's always going to be cheaters in games, but it's another hurdle to make it even more inconvenient for those attempting to ruin the integrity of the game and when it comes to cheating. Sure, you're never going to stop everybody, but if you can introduce more hurdles and inconveniences that every single turn to disincentivize them from even trying again, that's always a positive addition, in my opinion. Make it so annoying for these idiots to try and annoy other people that they just give up. Now, is this foolproof? No, absolutely not. And frankly, I still think that there should be further action taken sooner. Like, again, I still don't personally agree that you need a 3-strike system. If you are confident in your anti-cheat, you are feeling strongly that it is able to accurately detect your players that are cheating, just do that one warning system, a 30-day temporary ban and then a permanent ban after that. Or if you're really feeling strongly about it, have a permanent ban with maybe some sort of appeal system. But I'll absolutely take the win where we can get them. Again, any hurdle to disincentivize cheating is a good addition in my opinion. Again, this may not even be an issue for some people. Like, personally speaking, I think that I've probably maybe played up to 5 players max in over 200 hours of playtime where I thought they were potentially suspicious. Not even that I was like, they're blatantly cheating. But we also can't discount the fact that these players do exist. I'm sure that if you've seen some of the highest level streamers out there pulling the highest number of views, they're absolutely getting not only one, stream sniped, which is nice. We now have a matchmaking delay setting you and I can even put on, even if it may not affect us. But those types of players, not even just saying to appeal to them, that's just where you're going to see it because they are the big targets in the community. But these people do exist even if you and I don't see it. So maybe it's quite possible that maybe I'm too ignorant to how things work, how cheating actually happens, and what's the driving forces here and how to get around that type of stuff. Because I'll be honest with you, I have self-respect. I'm not going to cheat. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm too naive in thinking this is a good change. Maybe it's merely just a speed bump along the road. But like I said, any mitigation to keep play fair and disincentivize cheating, I think, is a good thing. Even if it's something that I don't directly see or benefit from, as again, I can't say that I've faced many cheaters, I'm happy that it can make someone else's experience better. So what do you think? What do you think of these adjustments to the Steam family sharing? Do you think it's something that will make a difference long term? Do you see it as a positive change, even if it doesn't necessarily combat cheating as a whole? Let me know. If you guys enjoyed the video, though, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing running all things Arc Raiders and even more FPS content. I'd love to have you in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.